waste my life. I don't wanna waste my time. I don't wanna waste my life living in this world.
With the Beatz.
It's just some things, there's no going back. You know what I'm saying?
jwoodbeats.com.
Yeah, I'm not the one with the issues. I hear you. Now here is your tissue. If I'm moving too fast, I might have to dismiss you. And it's really too bad, cause I really will miss you. But I'm not the one with the issues. I left him at church when I made it official. I murdered the curse with my own benediction. Left God in the dirt, call it death of the fiction. Superstition will be served an eviction. Competition will be left in the ditch. Oh my God, it's too damn hot in this kitchen. The fishes of men are now swimming with fishes. Oops, my bad, I guess I'm moving too vicious. Verses sold, I gotta put them on your wish list. Bless my soul, cause I'm dodging your little hit list. I guess you know, you just lost another witness.
Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go right now. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go, I'm out of here. I can do anything, fuck your opinions and energy. I finally got the epitome, my biggest hindrance was God can't do nothing but fail. Greater is me, I never needed your deity. All of this human capacity, when it gets rough, I can pick myself up and prevail. Cause I don't need anything other than people who fuck with me. Good business, it starts with good company. That's why your boy is obsessed with community. Cause greater is we can create opportunity. Doing what God never did, cause a God never could, but a people is all we need. Gotta let it go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go, yeah. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go right now. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go, yeah.
What's up, family? Welcome back to another Bridge City Sunday Sessions, man. This has been absolutely incredible. Man, so glad to see you all in here. I see you already active in the chat. So beautiful, man. Dale, happy Sunday. Muttley, happy Sunday. Well, yeah, evening for you. That's right. Love and sausages, man. Beautiful, beautiful Rogue Show. Nice to see you in here. Sharon, welcome back. Kyle is in the building. All right. Well, man, again, thank you all so much for coming in. Welcome back into another round of BridgeCity Global Sunday Sessions, where we are having conversations around building community beyond superstition. And we're super excited to have you in here. And we're just excited about all the things to come, man. These are exciting times. This is one of the highlights of my week, being able to come here and spend some time with you all and just conversation. And it's conversation that matters. It's such a big difference from back in the day when I was a pastor. And when being a pastor, you had to be limited to these 66 books of things to talk about.
Yeah.
And you got to force yourself to just stay stuck here. And now, just at the end of the day, we're able to have conversations around things that matter and create substantial and significant value for people as individuals, and then for a community as a whole. And so that's something I'm excited about. So thank you for joining us. Welcome in and get ready to have a good time. As you're coming in, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that alert notification bell, and consider joining, supporting, or connecting with this community channel or content in any way that makes sense for you. Also, check out the merch, because we have some of the dopest merch in the game. It is out there. And also check out the books, because we have books, and more books. And there are still more books coming, which we'll hit a little later in our little welcoming and announcements. This is the Bridge City News type of situation.
Yeah.
Now for Bridge City News. Okay. Obviously, I'm going to push this every week that I can. Discord groups. Hey, start a group, see what happens. We're experimenting with community to see just how much value, and that's really the goal. Like, man, it's to generate as much value as possible. Right. Through conversations, through building, through infrastructure, through all of that good stuff. Building connections. That's right. So if you have something that's a high interest to you, that you think would be a high interest to other folk, whether it's a hobby, skill, interest, whether it's an affinity, whether it's an alliance, there are so many options, and there is a packet on some of those options and ways you can think that through. available in our Discord channel that is on, I think it's the Bridge City Volunteers Discord channel. Also, we're going to be encouraging everybody to listen. If you're somewhere where you know there are at least 2 or 3 other people around you who can get value from these type of conversations, and you feel that maybe even watching these with those people would help you have more conversations where you are, why not host a watch party and let us know? Which means if you know at least 2 or 3 other people who you think would find value in these type of conversations on Sundays, why not get together, watch them together, host a watch party at your house, local library, whatever. And it's a great way to start building tangible community right where you are, and taking this conversation, taking it offline and bringing it into real life. So great idea for those of you out there. Also, as always, tell us where you're watching from. And for our moderators, if anyone does tell us where they're watching from, will you do me a favor and star their comment so that afterwards I can come back and make sure I look at all of those. And we're actually making our map available to everybody. You tell us where you're watching from. Please try to give us city and state. We're not trying to stalk you. I promise you that. But tell us where you're watching from, because we want to know where you are, and we want to know where we have community building at, so that we can make sure we are doing our best to invest it.
Oh, Jamie, we were looking in Pinson.
We were looking at moving in Pinson at one point. Yes. Also, house parties, we're working on it. I have not selected a date yet, but you know, I'm trying to look, with everything going on with my schedule, I will stretch myself too thin, but I'm still trying to make this happen. We need these house parties. We need ways where we're meeting each other once a month, where new people who are joining have an opportunity to get acclimated to the community and learn about the things we're doing. And this is just us trying to move from conceptual community to intentional community. That makes sense. That is good. It's our goal to move from conceptual. Right now, we're doing really good at conceptual community. Yeah. And we're just starting to take those few steps into intentional community. And so that's what that is. That's our way of trying to be intentional. And then, of course, we had game night last night. Yeah. And I found out that I am a little better at putt golf than I thought. You know what I'm saying? Digital putt golf. Yes. Had an amazing time. Major shout out to Kyle, Max Lyon, Wes, Kai showed up, man. We had a really good time, and I'm looking forward to more of them. I'm thinking about streaming them. I've been wrestling with it. I've talked to Kyle about it. I've talked to baby girl about it. We're gonna see how it's gonna go. And then, of course, join us for Bible study with an ex-pastor. And then tonight, join us for the Ex-Pastor Call-In show. Yes. That's tonight. At 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. The Ex-Pastor Call-In show. I think tonight's theme is, what do you believe now? Actually, let me see here. I think I may have that in our joints, which the graphic doesn't change from week to week, but still nice to see. Kyle is going to be back with us, and we're going to be doing this, man. The Ex-Pastor Call-In show. What do you believe now? If you want to call in and talk about it, tonight is your night. We have a lot of good times on this show. And I mean, we just have really good conversations. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Bring your questions. It's always fun. Always fun. And your questions don't even really have to be on theme. If you got anything that's been a pressing question for you or a pressing conversation topic, bring it tonight. We're going to be more than glad to engage with you. And then my last thing on my segment of Bridge City News is, please stay tuned to the very end of the show to see in credit format, I got country right there, format, how our country, now it's stuck in my head, how our community has grown. All right, I'm done. I've talked too much. Yes, as Darante said, new books are coming out. So if you haven't purchased Christ Held Up, you go to Amazon. You can purchase it as a gift if you want for this holidays. If you're gifting people. Yes. Also, we're so excited because also we have for pre-order Black Number Leaving Next Door, and my computer's doing. I think it's just going slow. Yeah, so go check that out. Pre-order the book. It's going to be available, by Black Friday? By Black Friday. Yes. Black Friday is the day that it releases. That's always fun. It's available for pre-orders now. And yeah, I think that's how that goes. Pre-order now. And it releases on Black Friday. A wonderful gift to get for any of your Black non-believer friends who are struggling.
Got some juiciness up in there.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. Yes.
Yes, God. And again, we hope y'all show up tonight because it's always a great time.
Absolutely.
Ex-Pastor Colin show. And I love the gentleness that you all take with each caller. It's so nice and refreshing to see.
Oh.
So.
Well, we try.
We try. And so thank you to all of our contributors that contribute to our live shows. If you want to join the team, even in a small capacity, we're going to drop the link to sign up for Sundays and Wednesdays on our live. We do appreciate the help and always need it as we continue to grow. All right. We're not too far from Chipley, are we?
No, we're not too far from Chipley. Whoa, right. we're in Dothan, Alabama, so we are right up the road from you.
Not far at all. And also, as my husband said, merch has rolled out, so we're gonna also drop the website windowshop.dld.us, and that's window with a Y. So go ahead and check out the merch there. It takes you right to everything that we have. And also we have post-session hangouts. Everything is going on Discord. It's always so live. So we'll drop the link in there if after this session you want to hop in there and meet the peeps, if you will. That will always be nice. And so we're going to jump right into the session today because we're so excited about this drive series.
All right. So I guess it's back on me. All right. I hope y'all are ready for this. I've been excited about this. We just finished polishing up these notes this morning, which is pretty much how my schedule goes right now. Every day is a day of work. All right. So before we jump into this, into our discussion today, let's get a refresher on our working definition of drive on the screens. Let's see here. And I see yours just went out. Dun-dun-dun-dun. I got it here. I think I got it. No, that's my name. There we go. Drive. The internal motivation to achieve a goal and the action and commitment that keeps a person moving forward even when motivation wanes. This is our working definition of drive that we've been working with. In this series, we're working on shifting from being driven by our circumstances to being the drivers of change that we want to see. Throughout these conversations, we want to challenge yourself to focus on the changes you want to see in your personal life and in the world around you. We're talking about personal and community drive because I don't just want to be responsible for changing my life. I also want to play a part in changing the world that I live in for the better. And that's the progressive thinking factor of what we call our BridgeCity difference. We are people-centric, progressive thinking, and life-affirming. That's the BridgeCity difference. That progressive thinking aspect is that we are here to keep moving forward, to do our best, to keep improving, to find. I think that's the only way we kind of safeguard ourselves from discrimination, marginalization, bias, and just any type of harm to others is always being constantly able to reinterrogate where we were yesterday against what we know today. Right. You know what I'm saying?
You used to say, what I know to be true today may not be true tomorrow.
That's right. And so in that sense, then the goal is to be persistently progressive. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So that's why keep rising isn't just a cute saying. It's a call to commitment. You know, it is a petition of persistence. And that's really where this conversation is going today.
And now this one is absolutely vital because it deals with our ability to keep going and facing challenges with commitment and courage. As inspirational as motivation and ambition can be, it's still going to require some persistence and perseverance to actually make things happen. And that's what we want to get to, is actually making things happen, right? Yes. So sometimes you get to a point where you work, or you feel like you're putting in enough, but then sometimes you realize, oh, I wasn't actually putting enough in to make things happen. So we're going to get some no's. We're going to get to experience failure, disappointment, even setbacks. But the question of persistence is, how convinced and how committed are you?
Yep.
Right.
And so if you have something in your life that you are passionately committed to, if you have something in your life that you're ready to attach your persistence to, go ahead and type too persistent to quit in the chat so we can get this party started. Go ahead and encourage somebody and let them know. I don't know about you, but I am too persistent, too quick, you know. What did I used to say back in the old days? I've come too far from where I started from, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come on. Okay, so let's talk about this. And I have a sneaky suspicion that this is going to be a good conversation. This is going to be good. So we're going to dive deep into it. And so persistence is a key personality trait identified by psychiatrist C. Robert Collinger, hoping I'm saying his last name right, in his psychobiological model of personality. A key personality trait is a characteristic that describes how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. Personality traits are relatively stable over time and across situations, but they can still change. Persistence as a personality trait describes an individual's propensity to remain motivated, resilient, and goal-driven in the face of challenges and difficulties they may encounter, whilst carrying out tasks and working towards goals. More precisely, persistence refers to perseverance in spite of fatigue and frustration. Mm-hmm. And that is important because sometimes fatigue and frustration could just make you want to stop and just like, I'll do the norm.
Yep.
And what we notice is the norm seems to be it seems to be comfortable, but it's not the route that's going to make you win.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so according to Collinger, this perseverance demonstrates a psychological determination that is foundational in aiding an individual's long-term success in achieving goals.
Yep. I like that, especially just this idea of perseverance in spite of fatigue and or frustration. Because I know for me, I got to a place, and it's just part of my drive. And remember now, one of the things, we have these conversations for us all to explore where we are. You have the autonomy to determine how driven you want to be in different areas of their lives. So please don't hear anything about my life and feel like it's an indictment against yours. Okay. I don't ask everybody to live at those extreme levels that I live at. I live there for some very valid reasons for me that are based on the variables in my life. But the nature of my drivenness, especially what I've been in for the past few years, is highly based on any excuse will do. So I treat anything that is a reason not to do as an excuse.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, but you're tired. I know, but I could use that as an excuse, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And we're talking through this conversation today, as we're exploring this together as a community, we're going to talk about some of these things. So back in the Please Don't Stop the Music series, and if you haven't watched that, please go back and check it out. Because unlike churches, we're not going to redo a lot of our series. And so you're like you're not going to see these come around again. As a matter of fact, and this, I told my wife this earlier this weekend. I told Darnaya this earlier this weekend. I said, earlier this week, rather. I said, when I was a pastor, the furthest I'd get planned out as far as my series was maybe a quarter.
Yeah.
We're already planned out to December 2025.
Yeah.
Like the series that closes out December 2025 is called Flight Protocol. And that is going to be those conversations are going to be awesome. But which that kind of tells you where my drive is, right? If I'm already planning into the close of 2025, right? But in the Please Don't Stop the Music series, we shared the analogy of the dancer. And I don't know if y'all remember, but one of the major points of realization from that analogy is that we all have areas of our lives that we are more persistent at than others. We all have more areas in our lives where we are more disciplined than others. And I think sometimes this is the illusion about motivation, ambition, persistence, and even purpose, is because sometimes we attach these things to ideas that we perceive as lofty. So we overlook them when we're already operating in those principles in other areas of our lives. So again, you will tell somebody who watches video games all day that they're not motivated, and that's not accurate. What would be a more accurate a more accurate way to describe that is you're more motivated to watch video games than you are motivated to do anything else. Because when you do that, then you realize the problem isn't a lack of motivation. The problem is realizing that my motivation doesn't just have to apply to this one area. As a matter of fact, once I realize that I can be motivated about one thing, I can biohack myself and figure out, okay, what got me excited about this, and find a way to hack that motivation in other areas that are important to me. Is that good?
Exactly. And normally people tell you like, oh, your motivation is in the wrong place. And we use the wrong place. Well, stop it here, put it here, versus how do I combine that? How do I get some harmony about
That's it. And that's such a good call out, because there's a motivation, wrong place, right place. Ain't no wrong place, right place. We all in the same place. You put your motivation wherever you want to put your motivation. The biggest instance, the biggest issue for anybody is going to be, what is your expected or desired outcome, and is what you're attaching your motivation to going to help you get there?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I have friends who are motivated to make music, right? Like they are, and like when I say incredibly gifted, they are incredibly gifted. And so they spend their time making music. And I mean, they'll invest in their music. But the question I often ask them is typically outcome related, right? What do you want the outcome of this doing? Because sometimes you can do this one thing over and over again, but how does your motivation move you to the outcome? Okay. Oh, this is good.
That's good, because we're in the drive series, and it's almost like know where you want to go.
Know where you want to go. Ooh, that's good, because I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. A lot of people know what they want to do, but they don't know where they want to go. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just want to do this. Okay, that's fine. But what do you want to do with it? Where do you want it to take you? And some people, let's be honest, we've gone through so much trauma. Not everybody, but many of us, we've gone through so much trauma that many times even trying to figure out what I want or why I want it is almost like exhausting, because you've had to mask so long and tried to live a life where, no, it's not about me, it's about you, it's about y'all. And so now when you're getting into a place of trying to figure out what you want, that joint is a struggle. This is good talk. And so, but if we can learn from the areas in our lives, we can get better at applying persistent principles in other areas of our lives. One of me and Darnaya's favorite stories is that Les Brown's "I'm Hungry." Les Brown, like, now y'all know I have my thoughts on people in the motivational speaking racket now, you know, so y'all know I got thoughts. But this particular story of Les Brown, I love, and it's a perfect example of persistence. He talks about, you know, Les Brown grew up being labeled what they called back then, word that we can't even use anymore. But that's the word, and that was the R word, and that was used for him from the school system. And he was literally called, he had a twin brother, and he was literally always called the dumb twin. You know, that's the smart twin, that's the dumb twin. And so he tells this story about, you know, his life. And he had this opportunity. There was this radio station that he wanted a job at because he wanted to be a disc jockey, a DJ. He wanted to be a DJ, and so he went up there and he asked him. He says, "Hey, you know, I want to be a DJ." And the guy says, "Hey, we don't have anybody. We're not hiring for that role. We don't have any opens." And he said, "Okay." So he came back the next day and he says, "Hey, I just stopped by to see if y'all had any openings because I want to be a DJ." And they said, "We don't have any openings." And he kept coming back, and the guy kept telling him, man, like, no, I don't know what that is. I don't know what we don't have this role for you. And he said, well, can I get your coffee for you? And so then he started getting the coffee for the man every day. And then one day he's in there getting the coffee for the man, and one of the DJs who was supposed to be on air got a little tipsy while he was on air, so he had to be removed from air. And so the boss man told Les, hey man, go call the other DJs and see who we can get to fill in this guy's spot. And Les Brown said, yes, sir, I'll do it. And then he went in the studio and picked up the phone and called his mama and called all his friends and said, y'all get ready, because the boy is getting ready to go on the air right now, and slid his behind right into that microphone and became the DJ and locked in that job, you know.
And he had his whole spiel.
He had his like, oh my goodness. if you've never seen that speech, you know, again, I have my issues with the motivational speaker racket, but if you've never seen that speech, just look it up. Les Brown, I'm hungry. And it will take you there, man.
You gotta be hungry.
You gotta be hungry. But that is persistence, right? And it's interestingly enough, there was a time in my life, and this was probably like 2006, where I was working at a brick and mortar call center in Jacksonville, Florida. And I was one of the call center reps. And like I knew I didn't want to be a call center rep for a very long time. Like I just knew it. But every time I'd ask about promotion opportunities, they'd be like, oh, well, you got to be here at least a year. And by that time, I think I had only been there for like 3 months. And I'm like, but I've been knocking out the park since I've been here. And you know, I'm me. Don't fumble at me. You know, it was kind of like I wasn't articulate, audacious, or arrogant enough to say that back then.
Yeah.
But that was definitely what I kind of felt like. Like, no, you really want me in this role. So, but a role never came open, right?
Right.
But there was an empty office on our floor. It was unoccupied. So every day on my lunch break, I would go into the empty office. You know, I would take my little lunch and I'd take it into the empty office and I'd sit in there and I just do work. And eventually, other call center reps would start walking by that empty office and asking me, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me? Now, look, I'm on my lunch break. But I'm like, sure, I got you. Yeah, I got you right here. And so one day, one of the executives came down from one of the higher up floors and he says, I'm having a meeting with all the supervisors. And I think I'm about to be in trouble because he's came down while I'm sitting in that empty office. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, snap, I'm caught. They done got me. And then he rounds up all the supervisors and everybody. He says, nope, we're missing somebody. And then everybody's looking around. He's like, no, we got everybody here. Like, nope, we're missing somebody. And he says, hey, Darante, come on. I'm meeting with all the supervisors. That's how I ended up getting that position.
And see, some people call that, hey, see, you waited for the Lord, but you didn't wait. You activated something because every day you said, I'm going to choose to go in this empty office and I can choose to answer my fellow coworkers' questions. Like you started to do the work, be persistent in that.
But I'm glad you called out that faith aspect because it actually took me another decade to truly learn the value of that lessons of persistence because I gave all that credit away to faith in my relationship with God. I said, this happened because God opened that door. Yeah. I didn't pay attention to those little moves that I had made. And you know,
right.
Oh my goodness. All right. So I've told some little fun stories. Let's pull a working definition for persistence before we move forward. Okay. Right. So persistence is the determination to use motivation to complete an action. Persistence is the determination to use motivation to complete an action and overcome obstacles to achieve a goal. I love that.
I love that. And when persistence is running low on reason or reward to keep moving forward, it pulls on motivation to pay the bills. So persistence pulls on the character development that has driven you this far to remind you of who, what, when, where, how, and why. And so that's good. But you know, they all play a role. It's not like, oh, have one. If you have this, you have one, or if you have one, you have the other. They all play a role with each other. And so persistence is important for success in any endeavor because and we're going to list a few of these, instills motivation and ambition. Yeah. So motivation and ambition gets us to persistence, but then persistence becomes a reinforcement of motivation and ambition.
So see, I like that because it's almost like a loop, right?
Yeah.
Before you can even get persistent, you have to be motivated.
You have to be motivated.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then before you can move from motivated to persistent, you've got to be ambitious. Like you got to have your motivation where it's supposed to be, and you got to have your ambition where it's supposed to be. But by the time you get to persistence, motivation starts waning. And ambition starts waning a little bit.
Because for me, it seems like motivation gets you to the point, oh, I want to do.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And so it doesn't necessarily keep me going.
That's right.
It just gives me that, oh, I want to do this.
And then sometimes doing, which is where the persistence comes in, makes you feel like, I don't know if I want to be doing. Mm-hmm. The persistence makes you feel like, well, this is harder to do than I thought. But the power, the beauty of persistence is that then it becomes a reinforcement of the motivation. And that's kind of what we talked about last week a little bit in this aspect of ambition, of how seeing yourself hit those micro wins end up becoming more reinforcement from the ambition. If you constantly experience loss and never actually interrogate your wins, you will always feel like you're not capable of winning. That's going to kill your ambition. It's demotivating. That's right. But if you're paying attention to those micro wins, and not just paying attention to them, but giving yourself opportunities to get those micro wins, you're boosting your ambition. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But once you get to, and that's also working in persistence, because then because I keep doing it, I keep giving myself an opportunity to win. Because even when I fail, I give myself new information to win with. Right. You know, like, oh, okay, that's good. I'm gonna say too much.
No, that's good. And so persistence is also important because it helps people understand the value of success. Yes. Right? Persistence teaches us that success isn't where we're headed. Success is the journey to get there. And that's so good because you learn so much. You don't learn everything at the end. Like people who run a race and race in the Olympics, they don't learn what they were doing at the end. Nope. They get to the Olympics because of the journey.
If there's one sentence that I can encourage people to get out of their minds and their heads when it comes to, setting their goals, it's that sentence of, I just want to be successful. Please get that sentence out your head. And I'm going to tell you what, it's incomplete. It's an incomplete sentence, and it's not enough to motivate you. It's not enough to inspire you. It is not unique. Every fucking body wants to be successful. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, no. And honestly, being successful is not the destination. You want to be successful at something for a reason that most times has nothing to do with the thing that you want to be successful for. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be successful at making a positive impact on the world because I want to die knowing my children don't have to struggle the way that I had to struggle just to fucking exist. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the things that I want to be successful in actually have very little to do with where I want to go. And so success is the price that I pay for what I want. Success is not where I'm trying to go. Success is the price that I'm paying to get there. Wow. Like, oh my goodness. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You teach. And so persistence also helps people learn from failures, which we had touched on. Persistence changes the way we see failure. Yeah. Right. And I don't think this was taught well enough growing up because we felt like, we get in a mindset where we're afraid for people pointing fingers. And if someone's pointing a finger at you, what I've learned, I'm like, oh, they're looking at you. They're paying attention.
You see me.
Why they're paying attention to me?
Come on,
I'm doing something. I need to keep doing the work. And so failure is not something to stop at. If you follow sports, Michael Jordan was the one who said failures got him to where he is today. He had to fail to learn how to succeed. And so many of that is across many industries. We see that. The Starbucks, the person who started Starbucks, a million times he said no about his idea until he got that final yes to start it. And so,
oh man, but see, that's it. It's the only true success is learning how to manage failure.
Yeah.
The only true success is learning how to manage failure. Yeah. The people who are running away from their failures, like you're never gonna find that thing that you're looking for. You've got to get I am comfortable with failure because perfection no longer exists for me.
Yeah, right.
Like so I no longer feel like I have answers that I shouldn't have. I no longer feel like I should have experiences that I don't have. I have to get those experiences to learn. I have to go through some shit to figure this shit out. So when some shit don't work the way that I thought that it should work, I'm like, no fucking duh. I'm not a fucking psychic. I had to deal with this shit to figure this out. And the truth of the matter is I could do the same thing and something different could happen because that's how fucking variable life is. Right. And so like this relationship, and that's the beautiful thing about persistence. when Michael Jordan misses a shot, it does not impact him the way that it impacts other folks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and when I say that, what I mean is, like, you miss a shot and you say, well, that's the best I can do. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, I'm about to have to go here. He misses a shot. He says, I can do better. Mm-hmm. Now, this is something that I noticed with just with my own family, right? When watching, because, like, I don't know if y'all know, like, I oh my goodness, poverty has been a major part of my life, you know, and it's been something that I've just been trying to fight my way through for the majority of my life. And it was only after kind of separating from magical thinking that I was able to actually start navigating somewhat. Now, this is still a capitalistic society, so there's a whole lot of fucking navigating that you got to do. Mm-hmm. But damn, I forgot where I was going with that. I really did. It got so good. I did. Where was I going with it?
You started or you used Michael Jordan, how other people see.
Here it is. Thank you. Yes. So watch this. I start realizing that people who always say, I'm doing the best that I can, are never trying to do better.
Yeah.
Like, every time I hear the best that I can, and I'm not saying there are people who are not doing their best, but what I begin to realize is that the assumption of best destroys any attempt for better.
Yeah.
The moment I feel like, or the moment I convinced myself that this is the most I'm capable of, that this is the best that I can do, instead of the best becoming an achievement, it becomes an excuse.
Wow.
Whew.
I see.
Like, how many times have we heard the best I can do used as an excuse for not good parenting?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was just doing the best I could do. I'm not so sure that you were doing the best. I'm sure you was trying. But that's why, like, even now, like, I've removed words like best from my vocabulary, because the moment I convince myself that I'm the best, I might get a little comfortable there. Yeah. And I said, no, this is the best I can do. Like, now, again, progressive thinking, keep rising. It's not just a cliche. This is the way I'm thinking. Like, no, I don't want to get trapped in what was good for yesterday. Right, that's what the fuck religion is. It's something that got trapped in what was good 4,500 damn years ago. This shit ain't good no more. This shit is spoiled. You don't want to eat this. Don't eat that. It's moldy. It's green. Wow. Stay the fuck away from that. Okay, I'm sorry. That was my little rabbit trail.
No, consistency, you're right. And persistency promotes consistency. Persistence is not satisfied with doing it right that one time.
Yes.
Right. It's repeatable results. And I love that you're yeah.
Do it again. Nobody likes Michael Jordan. And I don't even watch sports. I only use sports because they are so popular with these types of analogies. Yes. Like, it is so popular. But if Michael Jordan could dunk a ball one time and could never do it again, we would not know his name. We would not know his name. You know, but so persistence is definitely about that idea, is like, I'm not satisfied if I can do it one time. Like, and then, okay, so I'm gonna give you a little peep into my world a little bit. Like, even when it comes to our videos, because, like, y'all already know the outcome that we're aiming for. Like, I'm very transparent with what my goals are, with what this vision is. I'm trying to change the fucking world, and I don't plan on being quiet about it. And like, so that's what I'm here for, right? And so for me, it's not about like, oh, we had 1,000 views on a video. No, let's do it again. Then let's do it again, and then let's do it again. Why? Because we got 8 billion people to reach. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to determine where you're trying to go. You got to get comfortable with the wax on and the wax off until that shit makes sense to you. You know what I'm saying? You got to get comfortable with doing shit that don't make sense until it makes sense. I'm waxing on, I'm waxing off. I don't know why I'm waxing on. I don't know what this got to do with building community. Look, watch this. Darante, you're asking us to show up and participate in chat. I don't know what this has to do with building community. I know, just wax on and just wax off. Now, Darante, you're asking us to build groups. You're asking us to build be a part of game night. You're asking us to come to the Ex-Pastor Call-In show. How does this build community? I know you don't get it right now, but just wax on and wax off. And one day as this community is growing, you will find yourself in the middle of a conversation and just be like, oh, snap, like, oh, because we are building the fuck out of this community because we've been faithful with our waxing on and our waxing off. You know what I'm saying? Like, And so, oh man, I'm sorry. Like, this is good. I got my preacher towel. Okay. So, and persistence also fuels determination, right? Yeah. And that, I think the runner's high may be a good metaphor here. It turns out that the runner's high is caused by a really reliable change in brain chemistry that kicks in once you have been in continuous motion for about 20 minutes. And it's not only the endorphin rush that so many people have heard about that she talks about here. Basically, this is metaphorically, this is motion plus time equals flow. Okay? Yeah. Wax on, wax off, long enough. Yeah. All of a sudden, like you said, muscle memory. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't even know where this is coming from, but that's what it says. Runners high, I found it to be a very fascinating thing because people be running and then they get tired. And then they decide to keep on running even though they're tired. And what happens is it triggers something in their brain. It literally changes their brain chemistry in that moment to kick in and, oh my goodness, and give them a high that not only makes them want to continue to run, but gives them the energy, or at least the illusion of energy, to continue running.
That final burst.
Which you could call the new energy illusion, but it's actually fatigue was the illusion. Feeling like you couldn't run anymore was the illusion. The reward for pushing past that illusion. Man, okay. So the runner's high is primarily driven by endocannabinoids. Y'all know what those are, right? These are the brain chemicals that cannabis mimics. But when you are running and endocannabinoid levels naturally increase, that is what produces this powerful sense of inner peace, empowerment, and connection. Wow. Now, we're going to have to come back to this little nugget when we get into the work series. Yeah. And when we do the series, Happy Little Mistakes, just because it's also about those endocannabinoids. And so we're going to have to hit that. All right. So the next point we're going to hit as we're moving on through is when persistence meets passion. Yes.
Come on. And you see the passion that comes just from talking about it.
Wow.
And so persistence is closely linked to grit, which is the ability to maintain effort and commitment over time. And remember, we used to have someone who worked with us who always talked about, we're looking for candidates who have grit.
Grit. Yes.
She was big on that grit, but we're looking for maintaining effort and commitment. What value are you adding to, in this case, yourself, in the sense, into where you want to go? And in psychology, grit is a positive non-cognitive trait based on a person's perseverance of effort combined with their passion for a particular long-term goal or an end state, a powerful motivation to achieve an objective. This perseverance of effort helps people overcome obstacles and challenges to accomplishment and drives people to achieve. I love that because in the if you watch football, they used to call it the gridiron. In the gridiron, you gotta have grit because you want to move past the players that's trying to stop you from getting to that end zone or getting to that touchdown. And sometimes in life, you're gonna have some D linemen in your way trying to stop you from getting to where you want to go. And sometimes you your own D line.
Yep. I think that's once you move from that magical thinking framework, which we talked about this last week, the danger of teaching, children magical words like please and thank you. You realize nobody's going to get out your way just because you asked them to. Because what you also realize is that once you get out of a self-centered type of worldview, not necessarily a self-centered experience. I think a self-centered experience is healthy. Yeah. But once you get out of a self-centered worldview, you begin to realize that most of the people that are in your way are not actually in your way. They're just on their way. And that you just so happen to be intersecting at times that are inconvenient for the both of you. and you have to wrestle with that reality and determine how you're going to navigate and get around anyway. But that is this is why I refuse to have enemies. Any people, when I come in contact, I don't have any villains. I don't have any enemies. You're not actually standing against me. You're not actually blocking me. You're just in my way. You're not an enemy. You're not a villain. You're just an obstacle. That's all right? We can be friends after this, but I've got to get you out of the way because I know my who, what, when, where, why, and how. And my how is not to let anything stand in my fucking way.
And you can jump over obstacles.
Jump over, push them over, whatever. Family Guy got an episode where Peter Griffin plays a game called Look at It, Kick It. That would be my approach.
Look at it, kick it. Oh, that's hilarious. That is too funny. I love it. And so grit was defined as perseverance and passion for long-term goals by psychologist Angela Duckworth and colleagues who extensively studied grit as a personal trait. They observed that people high in grit were able to maintain their determination and motivation over long periods despite experiences with failure and adversity. They concluded that grit is a better indicator of success than intellectual talent. Based on their evaluation of educational attainment by adults. GPA among Ivy League undergraduates, dropout rate of cadets at West Point U.S. Military Academy, and ranking in the National Spelling Bee.
Okay. I like this because they concluded that grit is a better predictor of success than intellect, than intellectual talent. You know what I'm saying? And it's because what we understand about intellect is it's damn near woo-woo. When you hear people talking about intelligence, it's damn near woo, you know? But I am this is probably the only big thing that I actually liked about Angela Duckworth's work was this conclusion right here, is that grit is a better predictor of outcomes than intelligence is. And I hope that means something to somebody, because what that means is I don't have to be the smartest. That's not even what I'm aiming for anymore. I don't have to be the brightest bulb in the box. I don't have to be the strongest. I don't have to be the best looking. I don't have to be the most charismatic. I don't have to be the most popular. I just got to be the most persistent. There was a scripture that we used to use back when I was a preacher that said the race is not given to the strong nor the swift, but given to the one who endured. Somebody encourage somebody else and type drive in the chat. Just drive. Okay, but they're doing better than me. Okay, ignore them. You just drive. But this person is smarter than me. Forget them. Just drive. Don't worry about what they got going on. You are in your car, on your destination, on your journey. Wave bye-bye at them as you pass. Keep going. Just drive. It's not about how you compare to other folk. It's about how long you're willing to stay at the goal that you set. Because at the end of the day, your goal ain't about where they're going. Your goal is not about what they got going on. Your goals are about you. You could have all of their intelligence in the world, but their intelligence didn't give you your reason for wanting to pursue this goal. And it's your reason that separates you from them. I didn't mean to do that, but this felt a little too preachy. I'm gonna have to back up a little bit. That yikes! Oh my goodness, that felt too preachy. Yeesh. Okay. So our next point, and we're going through these pretty good, is improving persistence. You know, so because I think we all have areas that we say, okay, I may want to be better here with my persistence, and so we got some for you. Research has investigated two types of action for improving persistence. The first one was logic of consequence. It's where you try to become more aware of the expected positive outcomes of persevering to motivate yourself to persist. Now, in each one of these conversations, we've shared not only the component of drive, but I've also shared a practice, right? So for motivation, that practice was meditation. You know, if you want to work on your motivation, I'm not saying this is the only way. A helpful way to really work on your motivation is to develop a practice of meditation. And just to kind of set you free a little bit, your practice of meditation doesn't have to look like anybody else's.
Right.
Your practice of meditation can be you sitting in a lazy boy recliner with a blunt and some pineapples. Okay. But whatever your meditation is for you, you want to get a practice of mindfulness that helps you be more aware of your inner dialogue, your inner story, your kind of inner journey. All right. So I say that because this is what this logic of consequence is kind of talking about in the realm of persistence, is you have to become more aware. And see, meditation helps with that awareness, aware of the expected positive outcomes. So these interventions can encourage individuals to think in terms of the benefits / rewards of being persistent in their tasks and goals. For example, they may tell themselves, and I think we've all kind of been here, if I try harder, I will get good grades. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you can fix that whichever way you want to. Now, please understand, this shit is not prophecy, so it don't mean that's gonna happen. You may try harder and that first time not get good grades. But if the commitment is, if I continuously try harder, I will eventually get good grades.
Right.
You know, which of course my goal would be to separate people from the ideology of the grades altogether and just say, if I try harder, I will get a better understanding.
That's good.
You know,
that's what you want.
That's what you want, right? So studies have found that they can have beneficial effects on academic achievement among students with poor performance. But this also works to the negative, as we've explored when dealing with the spectrum of safety in our other conversations. These interventions can also encourage people to think in terms of risks of not being persistent in their tasks and goals. So for me, many times it's been, if I don't do this, I'm stuck here.
Right.
That's been the logic of consequence. That's been something that's pushed my persistence, especially when we didn't have a reason, when nobody was buying my books. Click on that one. There we go. All right. So yes, so we're still here. So when nobody was buying my books, I couldn't depend on benefits and rewards. When nobody was patting me on the back, I couldn't depend on benefits and rewards. When nobody was even agreeing with the things that I was saying or doing, I couldn't depend on benefits and rewards. But what I did know, and this started probably my 2017 journey, what I did know is that if I don't do it, I'm going to stay stuck right here. If I don't do something different, I'm still going to be here next year. And so my logic of consequence was, the risk is you're going to stay here. The risk is you're going to be stuck.
And that situation is going to be persistent.
It's going to be persistent. That's it. Either the situation is going to be persistent or I'm going to be persistent. You know what I'm going to say? That is good. I'm going to out-persist the situation. That's good. And so then the other one is the logic of appropriateness. And this is actually the one that I lean into more now, in which you see persevering as coherent with your self-image as a persistent person. In other words, I do this not just because I have to. I do this because now this is who I am. You know, so like most time you've heard me tell people, like, I am unapologetically hyper-productive. I don't make no apologies for it. That's who I am. And not only do I not make any apologies for it, I don't brag on it either. I'm like, no, it's who I am. You don't have to be. It's probably not even the best way to be, but it is who I am. That's the logic of appropriateness for me now. Based off of what I am trying to achieve, based off the goals that I want to hit, it is appropriate for me to be performing at these levels of productivity. I hope that makes sense.
And that's because you know where you're going.
That's because I know where I'm headed. Some people know where they came from. I know where I'm going.
Come on.
All right now. Here, an individual considers what behaviors are appropriate given their identity or how a goal-oriented person would behave, leaning into the identity of a persistent, motivated, diligent person to encourage it within themselves. Now, as a fiction writer, this is one of the reasons I love writing fiction, because studies have investigated role-playing interventions that they provide evidence that this technique enhances effort and discipline. So when I'm writing different characters, I get to play with issues or play with ideas of what is persistent, what is diligent. If this character is determined, then how is he making decisions differently than this other character who's not determined? You know?
Yeah.
So I wanna share this. Last week I shared a poem. This week I'm gonna share a section from the first book that I wrote. And I wrote this book while I was while I was deconverted. This book is the first product of my deconversion. But I want to write this because this deals with that logic of appropriateness, all right? And so you can kind of see me making that shift. Okay. And somehow I felt betrayed, not by anyone specifically, but by life. Life had betrayed me. Life had dealt me a losing hand, and I desperately wanted out. It is an unimaginable feeling to be surrounded by praise while drowning in broken promises. Sinking in sorrow while rising in influence is still sinking. And I was living that life. On any given day of the week, my preaching was being compared to the likes of the greats. I should have felt like somebody, anybody. But in many moments, I was nobody. It's almost laughable now. But in those days, it was as though every accomplishment I had ever achieved was simply teasing me, giving me a taste only to remind me that success did not belong to me. And as far as I had been, I would be as far as I would ever go. Have you ever felt that way? My grandmother used to have a saying, I can't win for losing. It's funny how those familiar phrases find their way to our own vocabulary and experience. Sure enough, anytime I would seemingly hit a brick wall in life, I would reach for grandma's words. Regardless of how many wins I could count, the loss of the present is the only one that seemed to count. I began to blame ministry, thinking that perhaps my service to the church had detoured me from any shot I had at any significance in life. Allow me to explain. Church had been a great place of contention between my family and I from the very night I committed myself to service at the age of 12. Members of my immediate family had lamented over how I would never become anything upon deciding to pastor. It's notable how memories have a way of reinforcing our pity parties in life. Mine certainly had me considering who I could have been had I chosen a different path. I spent plenty of days and countless nights pondering the entire ordeal that was my life. And during those times, I could recall thinking aloud, they were right. I should have never done this or never reached for that. Anytime we're looking for a reason why our lives are disappointing, it's easier to look to the past than the present. It's almost unthinkable that the problem back then could also be the problem right now. As they say, hindsight is 20/20, but it can also be deceptive. Hindsight will have you thinking that making a few different decisions will make you a different person, when in fact, it is different people who make different decisions. I contemplated what life would have looked like if I would have never pursued a vocational path in the religious field. If I would have listened to the voices who in hindsight sounded wiser than myself, how would my life have been different? If I had chosen to pursue a career in entertainment, how I could have shook the world if I had only ascertained a law degree from Howard University or some other venerable institution to launch myself into dutifully political activity. I imagine how my life would be different if I had found a corporate ladder to climb and became the managing partner of some firm, legal or otherwise. The life I had imagined in my hypothetical alternate reality was glamorous, albeit minutely unrealistic in many areas. Especially unrealistic was the idea of a different path somehow resulting in an easier life. No matter what direction we take, we stand to face the same battles. But it was in one of those moments, while I was caught up in a daydream, that I realized a very simple truth, one that helped to lift me out of a lifelong battle with depression and self-esteem. The guy who I envisioned in my hypothetical alternate reality, who had graduated from Howard, who had made a name for himself in the entertainment industry and had helped to launch the careers of others, that guy was different from me. In my mind, he looked like me, he spoke like me, he walked like me, he even wore the clothes that I would wear. But he was indeed different. That guy, who only lived in my hypothetical alternate reality, was confident. That guy had made the decision to succeed in the face of any and all opposition. It was obvious that his inner will was wired differently than mine. He thought of himself as a winner, and so he became one. Where I saw obstacles, he saw opportunity. He thought differently than I. Sure. After all, as a man thinks, so is he. And that's when it happened. At that moment, I realized that the difference I needed was in me. That guy in my dreams was only different from me because he chose to be. As a matter of fact, I was that guy.
Come on.
The only difference between he and I was conscious thought and intentional action. The time clock had not run out. There was still breath in my lungs. I still had the full activity of my limbs. I was still young enough to have retained all of my mental faculties. I still had a chance to fulfill any stretch of the imagination that my mind could conjure. I had only to persuade myself that I was worth fighting for, that my goals were worth achieving. You just learned what drives my persistence.
Come on.
That was my manifesto for the life that I would live 10 years ago.
Some would call that revelation.
Man, like that was a whole moment for me. That was a whole moment for me. Oh my goodness.
So the whole time you spend thinking about a person you could be, you can just become that person.
You just become that person. And it's just like I later talk about in that book, because like I had to get on myself, man.
I was that guy.
Yes, like that. Yes. I realized like a lot of the stuff that I had not done, like, is because I was afraid to get in the ring. You know what I'm saying? And like a lot of that dealt with a lot of, I had a bunch of family issues in my mind that I had to deal with, and I had a lot of religious superstition that I could not get past for the longest time. And I didn't realize that all of that stuff was robbing me from getting in the ring and doing battle with life. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to do. And once I got confident to do that, like that's when it was easy for me to just say, okay, yeah, I'm no longer a believer, because I got in the ring just like Jacob, and I told God, I'm gonna have to wrestle. We're gonna have to wrestle, and I'm gonna have to wrestle with what I worship, and I'm not letting you go. You know what I'm saying? That's right. I'm worth fighting for. I am I'm in this ring to fight for me. And every time I was refusing to get in the ring, that was the opposite message I was sending myself. Wow. That you're not worth fighting for. Wow. Every time you don't fight for your goals, every time you don't fight for your dreams, every time you don't fight for the things that are important to you, you are sending an internal message that you are not worth fighting for. You have to change that messaging. Fuck if it matters to anybody else. You've got to fight because that shit matters to you. Whew.
That's good.
Okay.
And that's why when you brought up meditation is good for yourself, so you can feed and hone in on that.
Your voice, in a sense, and I know this is going to sound a little crazy, but like in your life, your voice needs to be the loudest. And for most people, it isn't that way.
Yeah.
For most people, we have so many voices in our heads that are not ours. It's mamas, it's daddies, it's brothers, it's sisters, it's exes, it's friends, it's teachers, it's coaches. So many voices. Meditation is a practice that helps you learn how to clear that clutter and begin to distinguish the sound of your own voice above the noise. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
Because a lot of the stuff, like, a lot of people have really negative self-talk, but when you begin to explore it, a lot of that self-talk isn't even their voice.
That's good. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you're like, why am I always hard on myself? That's not even you being hard on yourself. That's that aggravating ass auntie whose words are still stuck in your head.
Yeah.
And you haven't learned how to separate her voice from your voice.
Yes.
Woo!
That's good.
Shaba! I'm sorry. That got a little tear in my eye and everything. Woo, woo. Yeah.
Keep questioning. That's the thing. Always questioning yourself. And questions are good.
Yeah.
Questions shouldn't leave us stuck.
That's right.
Where we are. Yeah.
That's right.
And so that is so good. And so that's so good. We're gonna go ahead and hop into the mechanics of persistence.
Ooh, I like this.
Yes, the mechanics. And so persistence in a drive refers to the ability of a storage device to retain data even after the power is turned off. Man, that's good.
I love that. Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that's so good.
I'm gonna read that one more time. Persistence in a drive, right, refers to the ability of a storage device to retain data even after the power is turned off. So even when there's no external encouragement, I still have the commitment to do what I said I was going to do.
Oh my goodness.
Even when I don't have power, I still have memory. Come on with the muscle memory.
Yes. Yes.
And my memory won't let me quit. People ask me all the time, why do you do what you do on your YouTube when it's talking about Darante? And that's because he remembers some stuff.
That's it. I got a memory that won't let me quit. And honestly, what I love about this is that's the difference between community and cult. Is a cult will make you feel that if you're ever disconnected, you're powerless. But true community is going to show you what you got going on the inside of you. That even if all of my connections to everybody else is cut off, I am still me. I am still persistent. And and that's what I love about this. If I don't have the memory, if I don't have the support, if I don't have the encouragement, if I don't have the money, then why would you still do this? Because I have memories, man. And it's memories that drive persistence. Yes, I got the memory of an elephant. It's that memory that drives that persistence. Remembering what? I'm remembering my who, my what, my when, my where, my why, and my how.
Yes.
I'm not doing this because it was going to be easy, and that's what's wrong with so many people.
The expectations.
Is that like when you actually begin to explore some people's why, when you actually explore why are you doing this, when you actually get down to it, the why was because I thought it was going to be easy. And like that's never. You got to have a stronger why than that, bruh. That's not going to get you there. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
And that's so interesting because even what appears to be an easy profession, it still takes work to do. For instance, Simone Biles, to get to the level she's at, Ali Reisman, you have even an ice skater, Michelle Kwan, Sasha Cohen. Even if you think, okay, well, these are just entertaining professions, they still have to do vast work and sacrifice sometimes their bodies to get to the level that they want to.
Well, see, I think what most people call easy, you're looking at through the lens of experience. You're not looking at something that's easy. You're looking at somebody who's experienced.
Come on.
So watch this. People used to think, and I'm gonna flip this on you, right? And it's gonna give you something to cry about and shout about, as we'd say in church. And that is, people used to think going through tough times was easy for me.
Wow.
Because I made it look easy. You know what I'm saying? So like, it don't bother you because you still smiling, you still this, you still that. Wow. No, baby, it ain't easy. I just have experience here. I've been here before. I've done this. I got the t-shirt, I got the hat, the cigar, the snack pack, everything that come up in it. It's not easy for me. I've just done it so much.
Yes.
Man. Yes. Okay.
So in computer science, persistence refers to the characteristics of state of a system that outlives, and that is persists more than the process that created it.
Okay. Can I hit this one?
Yes.
Okay. This is cool. So because what we're talking about the mechanics of persistence, but if you haven't noticed, we've deviated a little bit. We're no longer talking about biological persistence or psychological persistence. We're talking about persistence in the world of computer science. And so we talked about computer in the persistence in the sense of a data drive or storage system. But now we're talking about persistence in the state of a system that persists or outlives the process that created it. Now, the reason I like going to computer science is because most of what we know about computer science, we have mimicked it based off of what we know about the human mind and human processes. Right. And so some of these things are damn near mimetic, that it looks something like us. Because watch this, conception is the process that created us. All right? Right. Therefore, the fact that we keep living qualifies us as persistent.
Wow, that makes sense.
According to computer science and standards. Standards, because you have outlived the process that created you. Yes. The process that created you was conception. So your parents didn't have to keep fucking for you to keep being here. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't have to keep at it for you keep being in here. Just had to do it that one time, and bam, that act of conception, you are here, and you are now a persistent living creature, which means nobody else has to do anything in order for me to be here. I have outlived the process that created me, okay? Yeah. Conversation is the process that is creating this community. But this community is now outliving the conversations that created it. Yes. Therefore, this community is becoming persistent in those same ways. Okay. So now community is the process that creates support and value for individuals. Mm-hmm. But the goal is for the individuals to be able to persist beyond the community's support.
Yeah. Wow.
And at the end of the day, that's only good math. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
The downfall of creating communities where people are dependent are you create communities that can never become real solutions. In order for a community to become real solution to real world problems, whether they be first world, second world, third world, out world, whatever the fuck. In order for it to be a real solution, community has to have the best interest of individuals beyond the community. In other words, community has to be the process, but individuals have to outlive the community. That's also how you get communities that spread. Mm-hmm. So then it's not just everybody circled around Darante and Darnaya. Oh, the Martins are so great. It's like, no, these people have become the catalyst for other people to find the greatness in themselves and to figure out what the fuck they want to do and how they want to contribute to creating a progressive world. All right, I'm done. Did I say my part? Oh, well, I guess I got more. I guess I got more. Okay. No, actually, I'm gonna let you do this.
Well, so it seems that the more persistent we are, the more persistence we support.
Yes.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Yes.
And you say you want me to?
Yeah, you do this because I got to do the part after it, and that's just a lot.
So throughout this series, we've been building a conversational roadmap to help us navigate, support, and troubleshoot as we are on this journey of drive discovery. For each component of drive that we discuss, we're going to share a definition, a practice and posture, a focus, and a guiding question. And you can do this however you want, as it is a purely subjective exercise.
All right, I'm going to stop you right there. Only because you can skip that first part. That's from last week. I don't know.
Yes, I thought you wanted to go over last week.
I was about to set you up. I'm sorry.
No, I thought you wanted to just touch on it.
No, we just go straight to that one.
Persistence. What is persistence? Let's look at the definition. So the definition of persistence is determination to keep trying and doing.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Very simple. I'm determined to keep trying and to keep doing. Now listen to this. If you won't keep trying, you will never keep doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, trying is doing in practice. It's you know what I'm saying? It's doing, it's applied doing. That's what trying is.
I love that. And so the practice and the posture is petition and authority. Petition is self-talk that differs from affirmation. While affirmation is a reinforcement of what is, petition is a reminder to yourself of what could be.
Okay, so like one of my passion projects and the book that's taken me the longest to write, other than the Memphis, the Second Dawn, that one's taken a while too. Yeah. But the book that's taken me the longest to write is called The Case for Religion. And that book, I'm talking through the sociological evolution of religion. And the chapters that are the hardest for me to write are the chapters that are about kind of things that have been usurped by spirituality, such as things like praise. Now, we already know that praise exists outside of the context of spirituality. We praise our children. As a manager, I praise my team, my direct reports. So we know that word exists outside of superstition, religious superstition. But then we struggle. Well, hell, even the word worship, it exists in the pornographic sense. Like there's plenty of worshipers in the porn scene. So we definitely get that this word has shifted from just spiritual implications. But words like prayer are still a struggle for people. Sometimes even people still struggle with words like meditation. And so that is a place where I do try to put some work at, right? And so when we talked about ambition last week, I told you that affirmations is one of those practices that can help with your ambition, right?
Yeah.
Because affirmations is, remember, if you're lying to yourself, it's not an affirmation, it's just a lie. So like if you just affirming like you are the richest person in the world. It's like you is just lying to yourself, you know, like don't do that. You know, affirmation is stuff like you have survived stuff like this before.
Right.
Affirmation is you reminding yourself like you've made it through worse. You've done great things. Affirmation, especially for those of you who are parents, is reminding yourself that, hey, you are a good parent. You are a concerned parent. And those affirmations are not just about fluffing yourself up. It's about reminding yourself of who you are and who you are intentional about being. Petition, on the other side, is telling yourself what you need to do, you know, which is something we all do, you know, or I say most of us do, but when we all get into those moments where you have to look in the mirror and tell yourself something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like when you have to look in the mirror and say, hey, now you need to get it together. That's a petition.
Yeah.
At that moment, it's like you're taking authority over yourself and saying hey, look, you're going to get this thing together. So when it comes to your persistence, you need a self-talk that is almost like an inner coach that is telling you what to do. When you don't feel like getting up in the morning, you need that petitioning with yourself. No, you will get up today. You know, like we used to do that in church. This is this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice. You know, you have to take those principles and use them for yourself. No, I will get up today. No, I will read what I said I was going to read today. Right. No, I will do these things. Like you have to bring your communication in line with your commitment. All right, I'm gonna say that one more time. You have to bring your communication in line with your commitment. So if you know that you're committed to do something, make sure you're giving yourself the opportunity to hear yourself say it. That's so good. And that goes back to which series? I think that's the Please Don't Stop the Music series, where we talked about the importance of nutrition, which is controlling the flow of information and resources and energy that's coming into your life. But see, it's not just stuff that's coming from external resources. You're one of those people that are speaking into your life too. Yeah. So, and if you want to make sure that your voice, going back to what I said earlier, is the most important voice in your life, then you got to be speaking to yourself more than anybody else is. Okay. That was my little interjection.
Because that's what you're going to be digesting.
That's what you're going to be digesting.
What you digest.
That's it.
What you're going to eat out.
Come on now. Mm-hmm. Talk to yourself. Talk your talk, man.
And so the focus here with persistence should be discipline. And and discipline for some people, that's a funny word sometimes,
because it's meant punishment for so many people.
It could be negative, but discipline helps you get in alignment and stick to it, like build those behavioral patterns, you know. That gets you where you're going. And the guiding question for persistence: am I committed to make this happen? If your answer is no, sometimes your answer may be no about something. Why is it no? Keep going.
Have that conversation with yourself. That's right. That's a good reminder. Is that like have the conversations with yourself that you're uncomfortable with other people having with you.
Yeah.
Like so, if you know when if you have to answer a question a certain way and you're not gonna like having to give that answer, have that conversation with yourself and figure out why. And eventually, I'm going to give you a little secret here. It'll help you stop giving a damn. Because you'll remember, it's not about them anyway, you know, so it's good. So as we kind of reflect on today's conversation about persistence, I want to ask you, what drives you to keep going even when the journey gets tough? Persistence is more than just pushing through. It's about believing in the path, even when the way forward isn't clear. Every step of this community's journey has been a testament to persistence, a testament to the power of collective commitment and action, that we actually show up together and work together, even when it doesn't make sense, even when there's nobody else there, even when people aren't throwing you a parade, we're still showing up and doing the work. And we invite you to become a part of this movement, a space where your persistence is valued, your efforts are seen, and your commitment fuels a larger purpose. Persistence isn't about going it alone. It's about building a bridge together, brick by brick, action by action, even when the rewards aren't immediate. Together, which I just realized today that if you break down together, it says to get there. That's preaching stuff right there.
Yeah,
get there.
Come on.
But anyway, together we create a support system that keeps each of us moving forward, ensuring that our persistence isn't just a personal triumph, but a collective achievement. You know,
I love that, because our journey is one of collective persistence, pushing through challenges and setbacks as a united community. If today's conversation and discussion on persistence resonated with you, if you are ready to commit to a path that values grit, determination, and mutual support, we, all of us who's already here, invite you to take the next step. Join us in building this community beyond superstition, where every member's persistence contribute to our shared success.
And let's commit to being the community that doesn't quit. Let's commit to being that community that is too persistent to quit. When people ask, okay, why is this thing that they're doing growing? Why is it happening like this? It's happening because we're too persistent to quit. It's happening because this is the outcome that we're preparing for. It's the outcome that we're building for. And so the big question is, are you ready to be the bridge? And if you're ready to be a part of this journey, connect with us.
Come on, Sheraton. We're 2 or 3 are gathered. Come on.
I know that's right. We want to know you. We want to support you. And we want to welcome you into this wonderful community of people who are trying to get the work done without dogma, without doctrine, and without deities.
Yeah. And I love it, because it's also without judgment, in the sense of, okay, you can't be a part of this because of A, B, and C, or you can't be connected to this because of A, B, and C. The doors are truly open.
Yep.
All are welcome.
Oh, so I'm glad you said that, because that is like, I got a message this week. And it was just a brief one. And it was, hey, I came across your YouTube channel. Is your community inclusive? And when I got that message, it made me really think, like, because that is a real issue for people.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I responded, yes, these are a part of our values. We are people-centric. We are progressive thinking. We are life-affirming. What life-affirming means is that if you have a life and you're living it, we're affirming it. That's where we live. None of us have the right to put anybody else's life in a box. We affirm life and all experiences that it comes in, because that's an opportunity for us to learn. So this community is growing by leaps and bounds, but it's partly because we're actually true to the shit that we claim to be true about. Man, that's the best way that I could say it.
Yes, for sure. And so we're going to put a link in the chat if you want to check out the form and just put in some quick info. It's very simple, so please don't feel like it's like so longer complicated. It's very simple. And so thank you for that. And also, thank you just so much for joining us every Sunday, taking time out your day. We truly appreciate it. We don't take it for granted. For each of you who come on. Some of you come every Sunday. Some come when you can. We just appreciate you jumping in. We appreciate you liking, sharing, and subscribing. Subscribers are growing. Again, we're only at 52 subscribers. Back in February. And we've just been on go ever since. So I'm so proud of my husband, because he's always been working. He's always been persistent in my eyes. He's always driven. Sometimes he get on me and like, come on, I can do this too. You got some value. Come on and add it. So I definitely appreciate him. I hope you all appreciate him. And you show your appreciation by supporting, even commenting on videos where you get hecklers and those people that hey, if I saw you in person, come on. Okay. No, but we appreciate you for just connecting and building with us. Be sure to join again next week. Tonight, if you have time, come back 5 p.m. Central, which is 6 p.m. Eastern, for the call-in show. It's going to be a great one. We had a great turnout for the 4th episode. So come back. Let's show out for the 5th episode. Have your questions ready. Of course, we'll jump you into the screening room. Some people get a little bit confused by that, but you go into a screening room first where I get your information and then we send you over. So thank you so much. And if you value these conversations, if you value the work that we're doing, we made it easy for you to continue to support in numerous ways. And so you can join through Patreon, become a YouTube member, Super Chat. Darante begins Super Thanks. And so we thank you for that as well. You can also purchase merch. And you can get all of those links in the description as well. And don't forget, your tax-deductible financial contributions will be used to support the mission of building community beyond the superstition. So we appreciate you. If you haven't checked it out, go check out our website. It's dldd.us. Very simple. Yep. And so thank you, Dale. We appreciate you. Thank you, Kyle. And yeah, and join Discord if you have some time.
Yep. Hang out afterwards. That thing is back.
This weird. We just...
Right.
And so we appreciate you all, and that's all I have.
All right, then. Well, listen, thank you all for hanging out with us. Of course, as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that alert notification. Oh, I love that. I love it. Too persistent, too quick. Hey. No, let me stop. But anyway, but now that means you got to come back. You got to come back because you got it. You got it. You have not because you ask not. That's what happens.
Come on.
But no, I love it. Oh,
love
man,
awesome.
that is
Thank
beautiful. Yes. Well, y'all have a wonderful day. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. This has been absolutely amazing. Y'all are an amazing community. Y'all make this worth doing. And let's be honest, this is just the beginning, right? This is just the beginning. I want to encourage everybody. Please don't even get used to it just here. As we grow this thing out, we're going to make an incredible difference in this world. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yes.
All right. So until next time, y'all keep rising and be the bridge.
Be the bridge.
We'll holler at you later.
My life in the servitude of misunderstandings of people I loved. Giving it all, it was never enough. Because of the fall, I could never get up. I moved on from their misunderstandings. I am no longer standing under them. I was drowning, now I swim. 'Cause I found the strength within. I don't need your absent friend. 'Cause I got this, yeah. 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 This is holy ground. Depraved and deprived, I was living your lies. Lost in a moment with true sacrifice. Voices aplenty that never seemed right. Visions, distractions that altered my sight. I moved on from their misunderstandings. I am no longer standing under them. I was drowning, now I swim. 'Cause I found the strength within. I don't need your absent friend. 'Cause I got this, yeah. 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 This is holy